Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So quite a bit of stuff that I want to talk about in this video here, and of course obviously remind you guys that the Walking Dead Daryl Dixon will be premiering tomorrow, or episode 5 anyways will be out tomorrow, and apparently this episode is the best episode according to some people of the season. It's really going back and forth. I've seen some people saying that episode 5 is the best one of the season, and then some people saying episode 6 is the best one. So I mean regardless, we're going into 2 really great episodes. So yeah, obviously make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get my review and trailer breakdown for the finale tomorrow and just whatever happens. I mean, tomorrow's episode should be a really good episode. I'm actually really wondering like who could appear in it. I mean, I know we've seen Judith in the premiere. It was just like, you know, footage from the final season. I wonder if we could see something like that. Could we see a returning character in this episode? I remember Norman Reedus saying something about, you know, before he went into the final season, he said something about, you know, seeing a familiar character. There was something like that that was mentioned. And I was a little confused on that because I think a lot of us thought, well, is it Jadis? Is that why he ends up in France? And obviously now we know, like, that's like, no, Jadis is going to be in the Rick and Michonne show, not in the Daryl show, which obviously makes more sense. But you know, that was sort of, I feel like people kind of forgot about that because that happened over a year ago or whatever. And it was before they filmed season 1. And, you know, so far this season, we haven't seen any familiar character really at all. So maybe episode 5, we actually do get that. Maybe there's actual new footage with, I don't know who it would be, but it could be somebody else, right? And so I want to get into that because there was a scene that was also sort of teased, and yeah, I want to talk about all of that here, and also some of the ratings here for The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. And yeah, I know I mentioned that I wasn't going to talk about ratings until after the finale, but we got this post right here that happened yesterday, and or this article written by Variety, and really, it completely blew me away. I was not expecting this. So before we go any further, obviously make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. But let's get into this here. So I guess the first thing I want to talk about, I guess, is the ratings here. So for The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, according to Variety, and I will leave a link down below in the description of this video, so definitely go check it out. But according to Variety, The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon tops fellow spinoff Dead City to become the biggest AMC Plus premiere ever. This here is honestly insane. I was not expecting this at all. I was honestly very, very blown away by this because I've been following the ratings, and I did a video in the last week talking about the ratings because episode 4 jumped up a lot, and The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon has been doing something very weird with the ratings lately where it's like it's increasing per episode. Like episode 1, it was whatever it was. Episode 2 dropped a little bit, and then 3 picked up more and it was the most watched, and then 4 picked up more and was the most watched. And it's just, you know, looking at it like that, it's very, very interesting because shows don't ever really do that. And so, you know, a lot of people were saying with those first couple of episodes, like, you know, the ratings might not be what they seem because football is back, right? And so people are going to be watching football. And so, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. You know, football on Sundays is very, very big. So I think that that's sort of what affected the ratings here. And I think that's why we got this new update here. Because again, The Walking Dead, and that's the thing too, like back in the day, you know, appointment viewing is sort of how they reference, you know, the way people used to really watch shows back then. And some people still watch shows like that nowadays, but it's really not as common where you had to watch an episode basically once it was released, right? Like a certain time, if it was being dropped at 9 o'clock or whatever, you would have to wait until 9 to check it out, and you would actually, it would be like an appointment basically, right? Like you would watch it at that time. Now, because of streaming services, it's sort of dropped whenever, and people just check it out whenever they have a chance, like whatever that day, or if it's the next day or whatever. So, you know, ratings are calculated, I feel like, a little bit differently nowadays. And so, you know, for The Walking Dead, when it releases on Sundays, you know, especially if you have AMC Plus, like you might not watch it that night. You might watch it like a day or 2 later, right? So we get this article here, and actually I'll read the press release here from AMC Network. So I will leave a link down below to the actual press release here. I'm not going to be going through all of it, just sort of like the main parts here, but it says, yeah, on October 6, 2023, The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon has moved ahead of The Walking Dead Dead City as the #1 most viewed premiere of all time on AMC Plus after 3 weeks of streaming data, and is pacing to be the most viewed season of any show in the history of AMC Plus. Sunday's 4th episode of season 1 delivered season high ratings on AMC in total viewers and both key demos, capping 3 successive weeks of viewership growth. So it's really interesting because the one thing that the reason why I find this interesting is because streaming data in terms of viewership and stuff is something that is not really released a lot online. And so reading this here, I mean, obviously they've been kind of following it over 3 weeks, and I guess the projection for where this show is going to go it seems like it will be the most viewed season of any show in the history of AMC Plus. And I mean, we can kind of see that based off of just the general data that's sort of out there for, you know, for the US viewers and stuff on cable, which I feel like is not even that accurate anymore. Like, honestly, I don't even know if I follow that anymore, because we actually have right here in linear viewership, the 4th episode of Daryl delivered 1.1 million viewers on AMC in Nielsen Live +3 ratings and 392K adults 25 to 54. And then it goes into whatever it's saying. It's a top 15 cable drama for 2023. And yeah, just sort of gets into a lot of that. So that's what I mean. The 4th episode had a 1.1 million viewers on AMC in Nielsen Live +3. So that's actually really interesting. So that 1.1 million viewers, that's on AMC. That's not AMC Plus. That's AMC. So that's yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people watching this show. Like, I feel like the ratings are just not exactly what they seem. And I really feel like, because it's funny, there was an article posted. I don't remember who posted it or whatever, but I know there was some talks about, well, if The Walking Dead keeps declining in ratings, like, they're going to have to do this or whatever. And it seems like the ratings are just sort of picking up because the quality is picking up. And that's the one thing that I like to see from fans, is the excitement over the quality and stuff, because people are watching like Dead City or Daryl Dixon, and they're like, you know what, the quality of the show is really, really good, so I will continue to watch. And I feel like not even just that, but, you know, you have strong products like that. I feel like, you know, for a lot of the business side, they're going to see stuff like that, and they're going to have a lot of faith in what you're sort of putting out there, right? So to me, I think The Walking Dead hasn't been this successful in quite a while. I actually think that, you know, for them starting off this sort of new era of the universe, it's doing really, really good. And I mean, it's beating The Walking Dead final season. So that's that's really exciting here. And then we have a quote here actually from the AMC president, or of, I guess, AMC Networks. And what a thrill to have the most recent installment in the Walking Dead universe arrive to set records on AMC Plus and deliver steady viewership growth over its first 4 weeks on AMC, said Dan McDermott, president of entertainment at AMC Studios for AMC Networks. Thanks to Norman Reedus for bringing his bad decisions to France, to David Zabel, Scott M. Gimple, Clemence Posse, if I'm saying her name right, and the rest of the outstanding cast, and to the most passionate and committed fans in entertainment. There is so much more and so many great surprises that come for the show and across this expanding universe. So yeah, I mean, obviously this is very, very exciting here. And then just this one part here, because I need to throw it in just cause, but it says that the next series in the expanded universe, or Walking Dead universe, is The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live, starring Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera, premiering next year on AMC and AMC Plus. So I just had to throw that in there because it references it as like the next series. And so I just feel like, I mean, I guess you could call limited series the next series, but I feel like they're sort of grouping all 3 series as like the same thing. So I don't know. It's just me wanting hope for a second season, which I still think they're going to do. Also, apparently episode 5, or not episode 5, but episode 6, the season finale, will be airing at New York Comic Con next Thursday. So people who actually are going to be in attendance there will get a special advanced screening of the season finale. So it's going to be really hard to stay away from spoilers, especially at an event like that. It's going to be really, really hard to stay away from that. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be only like 3 days, so it's not going to be like the end of the world anyways. And I feel like we're all going to generally know sort of where they're going. Although if Carol shows up at the end, if that's actually something that's happening, I imagine that's going to leak online. I really feel like photos of just that thing from the event are going to be all over Twitter or whatever, or X now, I guess. And people are going to be so hyped about that. Yeah. And of course I'm going to be tagged in it, which is, it's fine. I mean, I understand it at this point. So, yeah, I think that this is just really incredible news. I'm very, very excited for the Walking Dead universe. I think that this is something that we were all hoping that would happen, but we had no idea if it was going to happen, because it kind of felt like they really needed to change. Like, that's the thing. I never had like any doubt that The Walking Dead would still have like a really strong fan base and could continue to be successful. It's just, could they pull it off? Because in order to do that after the main show ends, you need to have quality content. Like, that's the biggest thing. And if the spin-offs were like World Beyond and like Fear the Walking Dead, it was just never going to survive. Like, maybe we'd have this year and next year, maybe the year after that, and then I feel like it would just be done at that point, you know. But because we have this strong quality of shows now, and because the quality has picked up so much where it's even better than The Walking Dead, it's like, this is where you need to go if you do want to, you know, keep this franchise going for many, many years. And The Walking Dead is very successful right now. I don't see it really going anywhere for I mean, at least in the next 10 years. Like if they continue this at this rate here, and when I say 10 years, I don't mean like the current characters and all that. I feel like Daryl and Rick and everyone else's stories are going to be over in the next 5 to 6 years. And then the other 5 years might just focus on, you know, the next generation or do something entirely different here. But yeah, it is just very cool. I'm definitely very excited about this. But I also wanted to talk about one thing as well, which was we did actually get a scene from episode 5. And in the scene, I guess Laurent asked Daryl about, you know, people that he sort of knew back at home. And he actually mentions like pretty much, you know, everyone that he was close with. He mentions like Judith, RJ, Connie, Ezekiel, Carol, and etc. You know, he starts to talk about them, and it's kind of a cool reference because we haven't heard him really say their names really at all in this series. And so hearing that, it's kind of cool because it creates that connection to the original series. And again, there's supposed to be another new scene that's supposed to come out today. So if it is anything really like worthy of talking about, I'll do a video on it. But this one here, I thought I would just sort of tag this to the end of this video here because it was a cool thing to see. The reference was actually very cool. But other than that, there's not a lot to talk about with it. But yeah, I mean, obviously doing more stuff like this. I really feel like episode 5 is going to be an episode that focuses a lot on flashbacks and connecting to The Walking Dead, right? Because it just kind of feels like this episode is getting into why Daryl went to France and why he was on that ship, and then connecting some stuff to the past and all of that. And there was that scene where he's like talking on the phone, and I still wonder who he's talking to. I think that's going to happen in episode 5, so maybe he's talking to Carol. We'll have to wait and see, but you know, do we see any of the former cast at all? Do we see any old Walking Dead characters in this episode? Maybe, it's possible, but yeah, we have about 12 more hours, or a little over 12 more hours, I guess, to wait, and I guess we'll find out, right? So anyways, I'm gonna leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.